All right, let's talk about the features that we want in this series. So this is going to be primarily focused through Django, not other technologies. I want to keep it really nice and narrow, mainly so we can actually get the foundation done and see how effective Django can be with building foundational websites. So the first thing is, with building something like Netflix, of course it's going to be around videos. And inside of videos, what can they be? Well, they're kind of like long videos, aka movies. They're short videos as well. There's also playlists, kind of like, 1 through 10 or 20 or something like that. But then there's also seasons, which is like playlists of playlists. So really, we could probably get rid of both of these, but playlist is just like a list of movies, right? Okay, so we've got that. That's kind of where we want to go with the videos in general. Now, we could probably stop at just that. That's a lot of work just there, right? There's a lot of things that we need to discover, but the point of this is actually to just have a thoughtful exercise of what is it that we're trying to build here, instead of just jumping right in and just building, which I love to do, but it's also a good idea to have some sort of a roadmap in your mind as to where we want to go with things. We might add these features, we might not. That's kind of the point. Next, we're going to go ahead and say categories, right? So like, is it a action movie? Is it a comedy? I mean, this is also true whether or not it's a TV show or movie, right? So either way, it doesn't really matter. It's just the type of video category, like these hard categories. Next would be tags. So this also could be the same categories, but it's kind of like, hey, do we want these categories to overlap, right? And that's what tags can help us do. But the other thing is we can say other more descriptive tags like action comedy, or things that wouldn't just be like just generally this is an action movie, just generally this is a comedy TV show. But also things like maybe, for instance, a live studio audience, right? Things like that, which you wouldn't necessarily put as a category, but things that describe the video at large. Okay. Next, we can go ahead and say something like user ratings. So this is a feature of their machine learning stuff, which is giving us like a 5-star rating. So 1 to 5-star rating. Now, even if they've changed this feature or not, we are going to implement a 1 to 5-star rating. I think it's actually useful to see how that would be done. But the other part about ratings is this is actually really good for machine learning. So this kind of prepares our system for machine learning, which is what we actually want to start thinking about when we're building content like this or building an app like this. So next up, we're going to go ahead and do a search feature. And we want to actually search for titles and descriptions and maybe tags. Okay, so as it stands right now, this is actually a lot of things that we need to implement. So what I will leave this off with is maybe something like future. So future items being, well, what are the things that I want to have at some point in the future? So maybe user registration, maybe JavaScript user interface with a front-end library, so to make it look really, really good. Maybe like Bootstrap or something like that. So let's go ahead and say React, Vue, etc. Bootstrap, and Tailwind, CSS, and so on. And then this would also probably require Django REST framework for an API, which would allow us to actually use some of these user interfaces or user experience things with JavaScript. And then another part would be an actual recommender. So the recommender would be machine learning, probably actually collaborative filtering with machine learning. Okay, which I can talk about in general another time, but that is how we would want to turn our 1 to 5-star rating system into machine learning. Next, we might want to implement Elasticsearch. This would actually give us a more robust search engine. Another thing being video analytics and watch history. So this actually would require some JavaScript in order for this to work, which is something we're not going to do at this point. And then the next thing would be something like video hosts API. So like as in the Vimeo API, the YouTube API, and maybe even some open source options as well, like using FFmpeg and actually streaming our own video, which is significantly harder than just using something like Vimeo or YouTube to host our videos. Next, maybe like API-driven video details. So say, for instance, we want to get the cast members, like actors, directors, and so on. And then perhaps the release year as well. So this would be like as if we were getting real movies like what Netflix has, right? What we're going to be doing with our videos are pretty much just YouTube videos or something like that we can just grab and have actual videos displaying, but they're kind of just placeholders for all of the other content that would actually be in there, which is like not going to, the actual content side of things is not trivial at all for building something like Netflix, but the functionality is, well, it's achievable. And then finally, maybe payments integration. So something like Stripe, Braintree, or crypto. Okay. So you might be like, whoa, I really want to do all of these future things. And you know what? I really want to do that too. So let me know in the comments if these are things that you definitely want me to cover. But if you've never actually built something like this, all of these things actually end up taking a lot of time because we need to actually discuss how all of it works, how we can connect these things and make a stable system that's even ready for any of these things. Now, you might be kind of bummed, oh, why isn't user registration in here? Well, that itself should be its own project that can be reused in all of our other projects. That's kind of the reason. Is like if you want to learn about user registration, it probably should just exist on its own because pretty much any Django project needs user registration. Luckily, though, we'll have some basic user registration stuff, so we can still have access based off of users and stuff like that, and also user ratings, of course. So there will be some basic stuff, but more of the advanced stuff is not quite there yet. And same with a lot of these other things. There are some advanced features that we would need to know prior to even doing that. So it'd be better to just have a foundation of Django Flix and maybe add on it in the future. So let me know what you think about that and if you want to add some more things. Otherwise, let's keep going.